Okay, now it's been about an hour and a half since I've last been to the pot. I've killed some time waiting for this to cook down some. So as you can see now, we no longer have a boil, which is good. Everything inside appears to be cooked. Everything's nice and soft. Let me see if I can show you. It's time to retrieve the bay leaves. See, everything appears to be nice and soft in here. So if I was smart, I would have counted how many I threw in there, but I'm not. So it'll be trial and error. Just going to keep scooping through. I know they got to be in here somewhere. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's a couple here. Ooh. It's hot. Shouldn't have to tell you that. Now you could you can keep retrieving these as you go, because at this point you'll probably be in here stirring fairly often. So I'm going to stop retrieving for now and get on to adding more flavor. I have I'll move that. It's a little chunky. I've chopped up some onion, some carrots, and some celery. It's about 3 stalks of, well, it was no about, it was 3 stalks of celery, 3 carrots, and it was a large onion, which works out to be about a cup of each. I'm going to add that in here. Now, at this point of the game, it's letting these vegetables cook. At this point, I'm going to try to increase the flavor profile, so to speak. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of garlic. Not going to go too crazy on that because I don't want it to overpower the soup. That low sodium mix that I had mentioned earlier. Well, actually, it's no sodium. It's a chicken base. I'm going to add this in here, so give it some, some more flavor. You could add, pieces of chicken to this if you wish. You could either add them in raw and stir them in, to cook them, or you could add in cooked pieces and at the last minute, and have a quick soup. Now, going to add some ginger. Most people, when they think of ginger, they think Chinese food, even if some people probably haven't even seen ginger in its rare or raw form. You can chop it up, dice it up. I find the easiest thing to do is to take like a nutmeg grater or a small fine grater and grate in the ginger. Ginger's it's got like a peppery taste to it. So you actually could get away with using this instead of pepper. So just going to shave it down. Again, this is fairly strong stuff, so I don't want to overpower the soup. What I usually do is I'll peel it and then you freeze it. This is frozen, and you won't be able to grate it when it's thawed out. So what I usually do is freeze it, grate it, and then when it's thawed down a little bit, I'll actually start peeling away a little bit more, throw it back into a freezer bag, and throw it back into the freezer for next time. It's pretty hard to peel it when it's frozen, so usually I try to think ahead and peel it ahead of time. So got some ginger in there, got my vegetable in there. Now at this point I'm going to let it, found a bay leaf. At this point we're going to let it cook down some more. I'm probably actually going to turn the heat up a little bit because I want to cook the vegetables. Key with the vegetables too, keep them the same size. In this case they're diced, so if you're going to start with diced, keep them all diced. Don't have your vegetables different sizes. When you keep them the same size, they'll cook at the same time. So smart thing to do. So I'm going to let this cook about 30 minutes. Then I'm going to add some bell pepper to it, because at that point doesn't take very long to cook. So we're almost, I'd say we're on the tail side of this soup. So let's clean up a little bit, then we're back to add some more ingredients. I tell you, we're cooking now. You can really smell this throughout the apartment. I actually went out to the hallway for a second, and you can smell it out there too. This is smelling pretty damn good. So I have my vegetables. They've been cooking now about 30 minutes. probably not quite cooked, but considering I have a little bit more cooking time to go, they will be done by the time I'm finished. So from here, I'm going to add half a cup of corn kernels. These are frozen. I'm not going to go too crazy now on the vegetables, because I am getting pretty thick down there. So I don't want to go too heavy on all these vegetables and have it so again that it's you eat it with a fork instead of having a spoon. This is a diced up yellow pepper. You could use green, you could use red. I want to add some color, so I got the corn and I'm doing the yellow pepper just to give some color to it. Now this little guy over here, this is completely optional. That's jalapeno. It's diced up fine. I want to add a little bit of heat to my soup, but I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to, I don't want to pay for this later. You don't have to do this; it's completely optional. But the thing is, with any, pepper, at least a hot pepper, take the membrane out of the inside, remove all the seeds. You can give it a rinse. But big thing is when you're chopping, and then make sure to wash your hands when you're done, and do not touch your face, especially your eyes, before washing your hands, because you will pay for it. I've never done it, but I've heard that it is pretty intense. I can only imagine what having a raw pepper stuck in your eye would feel like. So I'm going to give this another stir. I would say probably going to give this another half hour. I know this probably seems like a long process, but again, this is a Saturday or Sunday thing. This is, taking it easy kind of thing. It started at noon. You have your supper, about 5 o'clock, and then you have some leftovers for later. So the only thing left at this point is to add the canned ingredients that I have. Everything that's pretty well cooked. They just have to be warmed through. So at this point, put the lid back on. I'm going to keep the heat on about a medium. Sorry for getting away with the camera. And be back in about a half hour, and we'll finish it off with just a couple other things, and then we'll be almost there. All right, I swear to you, this time we are at the home stretch. My vegetables have been cooking. I turned the heat back up a bit just to cook the vegetables that were in there, the carrots, the celery, and that. It's somewhat thick in there, probably because of all the earlier items like the peas and the barley and whatnot. So it's a hearty soup, but at least there's still lots of liquid. I've reduced the heat. I don't need it to boil anymore. The last of the ingredients are already cooked, so I really don't need to do much more. It's basically throw it in there, bring it back up to temperature, and then you're ready to serve. So I'm going to start with a can of diced tomatoes. You can get tomatoes now with no salt added. I didn't have any on me, but those are a good alternative. Then again, you can control your your salt intake in your soup. If you've noticed, I haven't added any salt so far. Everything that does have salt in it would be either in the pouch. Again, I keep referring to the bouillon as salt, but it said there was no sodium in it. So anything that's had salt in it is purely out of the can. I'm going to add some spinach as well. It's a can of spinach. Now, you're probably going to say canned spinach. There's going to be salt in it. I was actually at the grocery store, and I compared two brands. Well, same brand, but frozen and canned. And I was actually shocked to find out that it is exactly the same. There's no difference sodium-wise between frozen spinach that you'd get in the in the frozen food section versus canned spinach. So I figured if it didn't matter, I picked up the can. I only needed a little bit to begin with, and at least with that you can just open it up and go. So that's optional. I know that not too many are probably going to be a fan of spinach, and it does change the color, but there's a lot of nutrients in the spinach, so I'm going to add it in there. And last but not least, I have some lentils I'm going to add now. I was going to add the whole thing, but that's quite a bit there. That's probably about a cup. I got to use these up, but I'm going to use maybe half of that, so maybe about a half a cup. Lots of fiber in the lentils, so I'm just going to throw those in there. Again, I was going to use them all, but I'm not going to now because I'm back to being very thick and hearty. So I just, for this point, going to leave it to come back up to a boil. Just going to leave it on a low to medium heat, but I just basically want to have everything warmed up, and then I can put it back. I put it in a bowl or put it in containers and throw it in the freezer. So let's get these scooped up to a bowl. And here's our hearty soup. Lots of vegetables, there's lots of iron, there's lots of fiber in there. It's still a soup, but it's pretty hearty. I'm pretty satisfied with it. The best thing about it is I've controlled the amount of salt that I've put in there. So now if I want to add salt, I can do so as you know, at every meal. I can just add a little dash of salt, and I have everything controlled. So let's see if I could scoop this one up without making a mess. Oh, made a little mess there. There you go. Got about a cup of soup. You could serve it with a little multigrain roll or anything, really. Make some crackers, whatnot. The leftovers, put them in a container. I'm sure everybody's seen these at the grocery store. You can buy those. The little twist-on lids. Just go really nice. If you're thrifty, you might recognize these things. These things here are in the grocery stores where you get your pasta salads and whatnot. If you're getting your pasta salads, that's great, but you know, be responsible with it. We know the downfalls of eating too much pasta salad and coleslaw and that, but I like these. They hold about a cup. Actually, I shouldn't say about a cup. They hold a little more than a cup. If you fill it to the label on the side, it is pretty well a cup. And what I like the most about them, they stack. I can take them, put them in my freezer, and they stack up nice and neat. Same with these guys. These don't do too bad if you have a few of those. So it's not like you have a bunch of containers that are tipping all over the place. Basically, you put them in, freeze them. Don't fill it all the way to the top because it will expand a bit as it freezes. But there you go. You got yourself a quick lunch. You could take it to work. You could add some chicken to it, add some beef. Really do anything with it. But me, I'm going to get down to business, and I'm going to have myself a bowl of soup. I'm looking forward to this one. So yeah, I hope you guys try this. I've done the math for those of us who are counting points. I've guesstimated I got about 10 portions, maybe 12 in there. So far it looks like it's about 3 points per bowl. I'll add comments to the site or to a group on Facebook for those who are counting points. I know this is going to be out on YouTube, so by all means, I'm not making any type of authorized points, meals. So these are just things that I'm making and keeping track for those of us who are. So by all means, if anybody up there in senior management of a certain points calculating company, I'm certainly not trying to make any gains or benefits off of your product. So anyway, hope you guys try that and enjoy that. Let me know, do some feedback, and we'll see you next time with another edition of Cooking with Cliff.